barely lit by the amber glow of a single lamp. Inside rests a collection of ancient objects, remnants of a world long forgotten. Your eyes settle on a clay vessel, brown and weathered, its surface decorated with faded glyphs that seem to whisper secrets from across the centuries. This simple pot once held something extraordinary, not gold or jewels, but something far more precious to the people who crafted it, a bitter, frothy drink made from cacao beans. The rain intensifies outside, drumming a lullaby against the roof. You lean closer to the case and, in your mind's eye, the museum fades. Suddenly you're standing in the dense humidity of a Mesoamerican rainforest, somewhere around 1500 BC. The air is thick and warm, wrapping around you like a blanket fresh from the dryer. Before you stretches a grove of cacao trees, their trunks slim and dark, their branches heavy with peculiar football-shaped pods. These pods glow in shades of yellow, orange and deep burgundy, growing impossibly straight from the trunk and larger branches rather than from delicate twigs. It seems wrong somehow, nature breaking its own rules. A figure moves between the trees. An Olmec farmer, one of the first people to cultivate these strange trees, reaches up to a ripened pod. With a practiced motion, he cuts it free. The machete makes a dull thunk as it severs the stem. He cracks the pod open with a twist of his weathered hands, revealing rows of beans nestled in white, sweet pulp that glistens like wet silk. But it's not the pulp he's after today. He scoops out the beans, sticky and slightly purple, placing them carefully in a woven basket. These will be fermented, dried under the tropical sun, roasted until they crack and release their hidden aroma. The process takes days, patience layered upon patience. You watch as time compresses and stretches. The beans transform through each stage, their bitter essence concentrating, deepening. Eventually, they're ground on a flat stone called a metate, the rhythmic scraping creating a thick paste that's mixed with water, chili peppers and cornmeal. When whisked vigorously between two vessels, poured back and forth in a motion that looks almost like a dance, the liquid becomes frothy, crowned with foam that the Olmecs considered the drink's soul. This wasn't chocolate as you know it. No sugar softened its sharp edges. No milk made it creamy and mild. This was xocolatl, a word that sounds like wind through leaves, meaning bitter water. It tasted of earth and smoke, of spice and something almost medicinal, yet it was treasured beyond measure. The scene shifts like pages turning in a dream. Now you're centuries forward, in the great Maya cities where cacao has become currency. Imagine that, being able to literally buy things with chocolate. A rabbit cost 10 beans, a slave 100. The beans are so valuable that counterfeiters hollow out the shells and fill them with dirt, early fraudsters chasing profit even then. Maya nobility drink their chocolate from cylindrical vessels painted with elaborate scenes. Lords and ladies gather in torchlit palaces, sipping the precious beverage during ceremonies and celebrations. The drink is reserved for royalty, warriors, and priests, those deemed worthy of its power. They believe it contains the essence of life itself, a bridge between the earthly and divine. Thunder rumbles softly in the distance, a sound that mirrors the low voices of Maya priests as they perform rituals. They pour chocolate as offerings to the gods, its dark liquid staining stone altars. The rain continues outside the museum, pulling you deeper into this trance of history. The Aztecs inherited this reverence, elevating it further. Their emperor Montezuma supposedly drank 50 cups a day from golden goblets, believing chocolate granted wisdom and vigour. In the Aztec capital of Tenochtitlan, vast storehouses held hundreds of thousands of cacao beans, tribute from conquered territories, wealth measured in what would one day become candy bars and hot cocoa. But cacao trees are particular about where they grow. They demand specific conditions, shade from taller trees, constant humidity, temperatures that never dip too low or climb too high. They thrive within 20 degrees of the equator, in that narrow band where rain falls generously and the sun filters through emerald canopies. The trees are fragile, susceptible to disease, vulnerable to drought. Cultivating them requires attention, almost tenderness. Farmers must prune carefully, harvest at precisely the right moment, ferment with exact timing. Too little fermentation and the beans remain astringent. Their flavours locked away. Too much and they spoil, turning sour and useless. You can almost feel the weight of a cacao pod in your hands, its ridged surface rough against your palms. The rain outside mirrors the tropical downpours that nourish these trees, that same life-giving water that has fallen on cacao groves for millennia. What happened when this bitter treasure crossed the ocean? When Spanish conquistadors first tasted what the Aztecs held sacred. That transformation would change everything, but that story waits just ahead. Welcome to Sleepy Stories, the place where stories aren't meant to be finished. I'm Arthur, and tonight I'll be reading you a relaxing, sleepy story written by Pumby. We're continuing our journey through the rich history of chocolate, from its sacred origins in ancient Mesoamerica to the moment it crossed oceans and transformed into something entirely new. Let your breathing slow, your body settle, and allow yourself to drift through time with me. The year is 1519. Hernán Cortés stands in the court of Montezuma, watching servants present the emperor with frothy chocolate in golden vessels. The Spanish conquistador doesn't understand what he's witnessing yet. The drink tastes awful to his European palate, this bitter concoction that the Aztecs prize above gold. But Cortés recognizes value when he sees it, even if he doesn't yet grasp its form. He notices how the Aztecs treat these beans with reverence, how they're counted and stored like precious gems. When Cortés returns to Spain in 1528, cacao beans travel with him across the Atlantic. Picture those first beans arriving at the Spanish court, mysterious and strange, carrying within them the potential for transformation. The Spanish experiment. They add ingredients familiar to their own tastes. Cane sugar, cinnamon, vanilla. Suddenly the bitter drink softens. It becomes something approachable, almost seductive. For nearly a century, Spain guards this secret jealously. Chocolate remains confined to the Spanish court, sipped by nobility, who develop elaborate rituals around its consumption. Monasteries begin preparing it, monks finding the warm drink particularly welcome during long hours of prayer and fasting. The recipe passes through whispers and careful instruction, each addition of sugar or spice moving chocolate further from its ancient origins. But secrets have a way of escaping. Through royal marriages, diplomatic gifts, and simple human curiosity, chocolate begins spreading across Europe. When the Spanish princess Maria Theresa marries Louis XIV of France in 1660, she brings her love of chocolate with her. The French court becomes obsessed. Chocolate houses open in London, elegant establishments where the wealthy gather to drink this exotic beverage and discuss politics, philosophy, art. You can almost hear the clink of porcelain cups, the murmur of conversation in these ornate rooms. The rain outside your window might sound like the rustle of silk gowns as aristocratic ladies take their afternoon chocolate, served thick and rich in delicate cups. Each nation adds its own character to the drink. The Italians make it sweet and smooth. The British debate whether it's healthy or harmful, some physicians prescribing it as medicine, while others warn against its stimulating properties. Yet chocolate remains a drink, nothing more. Solid chocolate doesn't exist yet. That innovation waits in the future, requiring machinery and techniques not yet invented. The cacao trade expands, and with it comes a darker chapter. European powers establish plantations in their colonies, the Caribbean, South America, West Africa. The labour is brutal, often performed by enslaved people, or those working in conditions barely better than slavery. This luxury product, this substance associated with pleasure and indulgence, carries within its history profound suffering. The rain seems heavier now, as if acknowledging this weight. Centuries pass. The 1700s give way to the 1800s. And the Industrial Revolution transforms everything it touches. Chocolate is no exception. No. In 1828, a Dutch chemist named Coenraad van Houten invents a hydraulic press that can separate cocoa butter from roasted cacao beans. This changes everything. The remaining solid material can be ground into cocoa powder, creating a drink that's smoother, easier to mix with liquids. The extracted cocoa butter becomes an ingredient with its own possibilities. Imagine the moment someone realizes this butter can be recombined with cocoa powder and sugar to create something entirely new. Not a drink, but a solid. Not liquid chocolate, but a bar you can hold, break, share. In 1847, a British company called Fry and Sons produces the first modern chocolate bar. It's grainy and bitter by today's standards, but it's revolutionary. Chocolate has taken physical form. 20 years later, in 1867, a Swiss confectioner named Daniel Peter solves a problem that has stumped others. He figures out how to successfully combine milk with chocolate, creating milk chocolate. The addition of condensed milk, recently invented by Henri Nestlé, makes it possible. Suddenly chocolate becomes sweeter, creamier, more accessible to broader tastes. The innovations cascade like water over stones. Rodolphe Lindt invents the conching process, mechanically kneading chocolate for hours until it becomes silky smooth. The grainy texture disappears, replaced by chocolate that melts on your tongue like a whisper. By the late 1800s, chocolate is no longer just for the wealthy. Mass production makes it affordable. Factories hum with activity, processing tons of cacao beans, transforming them through roasting, grinding, pressing, mixing. The air around these factories hangs heavy with chocolate scent, sweet and warm. Children begin receiving chocolate as treats. Soldiers carry chocolate rations into wars. Families share chocolate bars during celebrations. This substance, that began as sacred ceremonial drink in tropical rainforests, has become commonplace, democratic, universal. The rain continues its steady rhythm outside. You're warm and comfortable, following chocolate's journey through time, like following a river to its delta. From bitter ceremonial beverage to sweet confection, from currency to candy, from sacred to everyday. But how did chocolate become so deeply woven into modern life, into celebrations and comfort and memory? That thread picks up next, tracing chocolate through the 20th century and into your own experience. Welcome to Sleepy Stories, the place where stories aren't meant to be finished. I'm Arthur, and tonight I'll be reading you a relaxing, sleepy story written by Pumby. We're continuing our gentle journey through the history of chocolate, that remarkable substance that has travelled from ancient rainforests to your own kitchen. Let yourself settle in. There's nowhere else to be. Just listen as we drift through time together. The 20th century arrives with the crackle of possibility. Factories grow larger, their production lines moving faster. Chocolate companies compete for customers, each one promising something smoother, sweeter, more irresistible than the last. Hershey in America, Cadbury in Britain, Lindt in Switzerland. These names become synonymous with chocolate itself, each brand carrying its own character, its own particular taste that people recognise instantly. Wars reshape the world, and chocolate goes to battle. During the First World War, governments include chocolate in soldier rations. It's compact, energy-dense, doesn't spoil easily. More than that, it offers comfort, a small square of sweetness in the midst of horror. Soldiers write home about receiving chocolate, treasure it, share it with comrades. The Second World War repeats this pattern on an even larger scale. American soldiers carry Hershey's tropical chocolate bars, specially formulated to resist melting in heat. They're not particularly delicious, intentionally so, to discourage soldiers from eating them except in emergencies. But they represent home, normalcy, a world beyond trenches and battlefields. When peace returns, chocolate returns with it, transformed. The post-war boom brings new prosperity, new appetites. Chocolate advertising explodes across radio, then television. Commercials promise happiness, romance, indulgence. a woman receiving chocolates from an admirer, a family sharing chocolate cake at celebrations, children's faces lighting up at Halloween, their bags heavy with candy. These images embed themselves in collective consciousness. Chocolate becomes shorthand for reward, for love, for treating yourself. You deserve this. Life is sweet. The associations multiply like ripples in still water. Valentine's Day becomes inseparable from heart-shaped boxes filled with chocolate. Easter brings chocolate eggs and bunnies. Christmas stockings bulge with chocolate coins, wrapped in gold foil. Birthday cakes wear chocolate frosting like festive clothing. Meanwhile, innovation continues in laboratories and kitchens. White chocolate emerges, made from cocoa butter without the cocoa solids that give chocolate its brown colour. Purists debate whether it counts as real chocolate. Dark chocolate gains appreciation among those who prefer bitter intensity over milky sweetness. The percentage of cacao becomes a mark of sophistication. 70%, 85%, 99%. Each increment bringing you closer to that original bitter drink the Olmecs consumed 3,000 years ago. Chocolate spreads globally in ways the Spanish conquistadors never imagined. Japan develops unique flavors. Green tea chocolate, wasabi chocolate, sake chocolate. Mexico reclaims its heritage with chocolate infused with chili peppers, echoing ancient recipes. France elevates chocolate to high art with delicate truffles and glossy ganaches. Belgium becomes famous for pralines, each piece a tiny architectural marvel. The late 20th century brings new awareness, new questions. Where does cacao come from? Who grows it? Under what conditions? Documentaries reveal that much cacao farming still relies on exploitative labour practices, sometimes even child labour. The pleasure of eating chocolate becomes complicated by ethical considerations. Fair trade certifications emerge. Direct trade relationships develop between chocolate makers and farmers. Small batch craft chocolate makers appear, treating cacao like wine, emphasizing terroir and origin. Single origin chocolate from Madagascar tastes different from Ecuador, which differs from Tanzania. The soil, the climate, the specific genetics of cacao trees, all of it matters, creates subtle variations in flavor. You can taste red fruit notes, earthy undertones, floral hints. Chocolate sommeliers exist now, people who can identify origin and processing methods by taste alone. And through all these centuries, all these transformations, chocolate retains something essential. That fundamental appeal crossing cultures and generations. A crying child offered chocolate often stops crying. A heartbroken person finds small solace in chocolate ice cream. Friends meeting for coffee often order something chocolate on the side. It's become woven into the fabric of comfort itself. Scientists study why. They discover chocolate contains compounds that affect brain chemistry. Phenylethylamine, which mimics the feeling of falling in love. Anandamide, which binds to the same receptors as cannabis, creating mild euphoria. Theobromine, a gentle stimulant. The pleasure isn't just cultural conditioning. There's actual chemistry happening. Molecules interacting with your nervous system in ways that feel good. But knowing the science doesn't diminish the magic. If anything, it adds another layer. This substance humans have cherished for millennia actually does something measurable to our brains, our bodies, our moods. The Olmecs weren't wrong to consider it divine. The rain outside has softened to the lightest patter, barely audible. You're warm and drowsy, following chocolate's path through the 20th century and into your own lifetime. From wartime rations to artisanal single-origin bars, from mass-produced candy to carefully crafted confections, from simple pleasure to complex ethical considerations. But there's one more thread to follow: how chocolate connects to memory, to personal history, to the specific moments that make up a life. That's where the story goes next, into the intimate space where chocolate and memory intertwine. Welcome to Sleepy Stories, the place where stories aren't meant to be finished. I'm Arthur, and tonight I'll be reading you a relaxing, sleepy story written by Pumby. We're continuing our journey through chocolate's rich history, arriving now at the place where this ancient substance meets your own memories. Get comfortable, let your breathing slow, and drift with me into these final chapters. You remember your first chocolate, not the first time you tasted it, that memory lost to early childhood, but the first one that mattered. Maybe it was Halloween candy, traded with friends on the sidewalk, sorting through pillowcases full of sweetness. Perhaps a hot chocolate after sledding, warming frozen fingers around the mug. Or that chocolate bar shared on a road trip, windows down, summer air rushing through the car. Everyone has these moments. Chocolate rarely stars in them, but always supports, plays a quiet role in the background of significance. A grandmother's house, smelling of brownies. That specific brand of chocolate your father always kept in his desk drawer. The fancy truffle your first serious relationship gave you, wrapped in gold foil, too beautiful to eat immediately. These memories aren't really about chocolate. They're about context, about who you were with, what you felt, the specific texture of that moment in time. Yet chocolate anchors them somehow. Its taste and smell become inseparable from the memory itself. Neuroscientists explain this through the relationship between taste, smell, and memory formation. The olfactory bulb connects directly to the hippocampus and amygdala, brain regions handling memory and emotion. When you eat chocolate during meaningful experiences, the sensory data gets encoded alongside the emotional content. Later, that taste or smell can unlock the entire memory, transport you backward through time. This works with any food, any scent. But chocolate appears in so many moments across so many lives that it becomes a universal key, opening doors to personal history. Think about birthday cakes, the chocolate ones specifically. How many have you eaten? 10, 20, 50, each one marking another year, another gathering, another version of yourself. The cake from your 8th birthday, when it rained and the party moved indoors. Your 21st celebrated with friends who've since scattered across continents. Your child's first birthday, their face smeared with frosting. That expression of pure, bewildered delight. The chocolate itself might have been unremarkable, standard grocery store cake. But it held the moment together, gave everyone something to gather around, or consider chocolate as apology, as peace offering. After arguments, after mistakes, showing up with chocolate says something without words. Not that chocolate fixes anything serious, but it serves as gesture, as bridge, as small offering of sweetness when things have been bitter. Different cultures encode different meanings. In Japan, women give chocolate to men on Valentine's Day, with distinctions between giri choco, obligation chocolate given to colleagues, and honmei choco, chocolate for someone special. A month later, on White Day, men reciprocate. These rituals create structure around expressing feelings that might otherwise remain unspoken. In Mexico, chocolate appears at weddings, its history connecting the celebration to centuries of tradition. In some Jewish households, chocolate gelt commemorates Hanukkah, foil-wrapped coins given to children. Each culture finds ways to weave chocolate into its particular fabric of meaning. Your own relationship with chocolate has probably shifted over time. As a child, it was pure treat, special occasion food, currency of reward and celebration. Adolescence might have brought different associations, comfort food during difficult times, or something forbidden during attempts at dieting. Adulthood complicates it further. You learn about cacao farming conditions, about sugar content, about ethical sourcing. The simple pleasure becomes tangled with awareness. Some people give up chocolate entirely, for health or ethical reasons. Others become more selective, choosing quality over quantity, seeking out fair trade certified brands or small batch makers who pay farmers directly. The decision about chocolate becomes a decision about values, about what you're willing to compromise on. Yet even with all this awareness, all this complexity, the fundamental appeal persists. That moment when chocolate melts on your tongue, releasing its layered flavors, still brings satisfaction that feels almost primal. Your brain still responds to those compounds, still releases those pleasant neurochemicals. The pleasure remains real regardless of how much you intellectualize it. Late-night chocolate hits differently than afternoon chocolate. Morning chocolate feels almost transgressive. The context changes the experience even when the chocolate itself stays constant. A square of dark chocolate savoured slowly. After dinner becomes meditation, moment of intentional pleasure. That same chocolate eaten hastily while rushing between tasks barely registers. Mindfulness teachers sometimes use chocolate in exercises. Spend 5 full minutes with one piece. Examine it visually. Notice its aroma. Let it melt rather than chewing. Pay attention to every sensation, every flavour note as it develops. Most people discover they've never really tasted chocolate before, not fully, not with complete attention. This practice reveals something about modern life, how rarely we're actually present for anything, even simple pleasures. We eat while working, while scrolling, while watching screens. The chocolate becomes automatic rather than conscious. We consume it without experiencing it. But tonight, in this quiet space, you can remember how to pay attention. You can think about chocolate not as habit or afterthought, but as something worthy of notice. Those Olmec priests who first cultivated cacao treated it as sacred. Maybe they weren't entirely wrong. Not divine perhaps, but deserving of respect, of gratitude, of mindful appreciation. Outside, the rain has stopped completely. Silence settles, deep and comfortable. Your breathing has slowed to match the pace of this story, this journey through chocolate's long history. From ancient Mesoamerica to your own memories. From bitter ceremonial drink to sweet modern confection. From sacred substance to everyday pleasure. And now, as you drift deeper into relaxation, there's one final place this story needs to go. Welcome to Sleepy Stories, the place where stories aren't meant to be finished. I'm Arthur, and tonight I'll be reading you a relaxing, sleepy story written by Pumby. We're continuing our journey through the world of chocolate, exploring its rich history and the quiet comfort it brings. Let your body settle deeper into comfort as we conclude this sweet tale together. That final place is the simplest one. The present moment, right here, right now. No history lesson needed, no cultural analysis, just you and the memory of chocolate, the idea of it, the comfort that idea brings. You might not even have chocolate nearby. Doesn't matter. The thought alone carries power, triggers those pleasant associations your brain has built over years. Consider how many chocolate moments you've accumulated. Birthday cakes with thick frosting, Halloween candy sorted and traded with siblings, hot chocolate after snow days, marshmallows bobbing on the surface, your grandmother's secret recipe, that specific brand you always bought during college finals week, the chocolate your partner brought home that one difficult evening without being asked. Each memory sits in your mind like a photograph in an album. Some vivid, some faded, all of them part of your story. Chocolate witnessed your life. It was there during celebrations and heartbreaks, ordinary Tuesdays and extraordinary moments. Silent participant in your personal history, there's something profound about that. How a simple food becomes threaded through a lifetime. You can't think of certain people without remembering the chocolate they loved, the way they ate it, your friend who always saved chocolate for last, your father who kept a hidden stash in his desk drawer, your child's face the first time they tried chocolate cake, that expression of pure discovery. These memories don't demand anything from you. They simply exist, available whenever you need them. Comfort that requires no action, no decision, no effort. Just remembering is enough. The best chocolate experiences often happen in stillness. Late at night when the house is quiet. Early morning before anyone else wakes. Those in-between times when you're alone with your thoughts. You unwrap something chocolate, take a bite, and for a moment everything else fades. The taste fills your attention completely. Nothing exists except that sensation. This is what mindfulness actually means. Not some abstract spiritual concept, but simply being present for what's happening right now. The chocolate melts. You notice. That's all. That's everything. Your relationship with chocolate will keep evolving. New favorites will emerge. Old preferences might fade. You'll discover chocolate from places you've never been, flavored with ingredients you can't pronounce. Or maybe you'll return to the simple chocolate of childhood, finding that its plainness has become sophisticated in your memory. Some nights you'll want dark chocolate, something with complexity and depth. Other times, only milk chocolate will do, sweet and uncomplicated. Occasionally, white chocolate. Technically, not chocolate at all, but satisfying nonetheless. Your cravings shift like weather, responding to needs you don't always understand. Chocolate makers will keep innovating. New percentages of cacao, unexpected flavour combinations, novel techniques borrowed from other culinary traditions. The chocolate available 20 years from now will differ from today's options, yet something essential will remain unchanged. That core experience of sweetness, of pleasure, of momentary satisfaction. Perhaps future chocolate will be more ethical, farmers paid fairly, forests protected, children in school instead of fields. Perhaps technology will create chocolate from ingredients that don't require tropical agriculture. Perhaps lab-grown cacao will solve problems that seem intractable now. Progress happens slowly, then suddenly. But tonight, none of that matters. Tonight you're here, breathing slowly, thinking about chocolate in the abstract, letting its idea soothe you. The specifics fade. You're not craving chocolate exactly. You're appreciating it, holding gratitude for this small pleasure that exists in the world. Outside your window, the world continues. People are working night shifts. Others are celebrating or grieving or simply living through another evening. Somewhere someone is tasting chocolate for the first time. Somewhere else, someone is savouring their last piece, making it last. You're connected to all of them through this shared experience. Chocolate eaters across centuries and continents, each person finding their own meaning in those same essential compounds. The Olmec priest and the modern child, separated by millennia, but united in this simple act of consumption. Your breathing has become so slow now. Deep and even, peaceful rhythm that requires no thought. Your body knows how to rest. Your mind is learning to let go, releasing the day's concerns, surrendering to stillness. Think of chocolate one more time. Not specific chocolate, just the essence of it. The colour brown in your mind's eye. The remembered taste, faint and pleasant. The feeling of comfort it represents. Let that feeling expand, filling your chest, spreading through your limbs. This is what chocolate offers at its best. Not sugar rush or caffeine jolt, but permission to pause, to experience something pleasant. To remember that small joys exist. The ancient Olmecs weren't wrong to consider it special. Millions of people across thousands of years weren't wrong to value it. You're not wrong to find comfort in thinking about it now, in this quiet moment as sleep approaches. The story of chocolate is really a story about being human, about finding pleasure where we can, creating meaning through ritual and tradition, connecting with each other through shared experiences. And now, as your eyes grow heavier, as your thoughts become softer and less defined, you can let even chocolate fade from your mind. You don't need to hold on to anything. The comfort remains whether you're thinking about it or not. Everything you need is already here. You're safe, you're comfortable, you're exactly where you belong. The story has reached its natural end, and so can you, drifting into the peaceful darkness that waits beyond these final words, carrying nothing but contentment into sleep. Welcome to Sleepy Stories, the place where stories aren't meant to be finished. I'm Arthur, and tonight I'll be reading you a relaxing, sleepy story written by Pumby. We've journeyed through thousands of years of chocolate's history, from ancient rainforests to your own memories. Now let your mind rest as we bring this sweet tale to its gentle close. That final place is here, this moment. You breathing slowly, thinking of chocolate not as craving but as companion through time. The Olmec farmer cracking open that first pod, Spanish monks sweetening bitter liquid with sugar, factory workers watching the first solid bars emerge, your grandmother's kitchen, Your own hand unwrapping foil. All of it connects, thread running through human experience, delicate but unbroken. You don't need chocolate in your hand to feel its comfort. The memory alone carries weight. Your brain releases those same pleasant chemicals just from thinking about it, from remembering favourite moments, from anticipating future tastes. Neuroscience and nostalgia become the same thing. Some people meditate on breath, others on sound. Tonight, you've meditated on chocolate, followed it through centuries, across oceans, into your own heart. The practice hasn't been about the substance itself, but about attention, about noticing, about finding meaning in unexpected places. Chocolate taught you something tonight. Not facts, though those were there. Something subtler. How small pleasures matter. How traditions carry us. How taste and memory intertwine so completely they become inseparable. You'll remember this differently tomorrow, if you remember it at all. That's fine. The relaxation remains regardless. Your breathing has found its rhythm now. Deep, slow, effortless. Your body knows what to do. It's been preparing for sleep this entire time, releasing tension you didn't know you held, softening muscles that forgot how to rest. Think of chocolate one last time. Not specific chocolate, just the idea. Brown warmth, sweet comfort. That moment when it melts, when pleasure spreads across your tongue, when nothing else matters. Hold that feeling without grasping it. Let it exist like candlelight, gentle and sufficient. The rain has long since stopped. Silence wraps around you like a blanket. Outside, the world continues its restless motion. Inside, you found stillness. The story has given you permission to stop, to rest, to simply be. Chocolate's journey spans 3,000 years. Your journey tonight spans minutes, maybe an hour. Both matter equally. Scale is meaningless when it comes to moments of peace. The Olmec priest sipping ceremonial cacao felt the same basic satisfaction you feel remembering your favourite chocolate. Time collapses. Everyone who ever found comfort in chocolate sits with you now. You're part of that lineage. Chocolate eater, pleasure seeker, human being trying to find sweetness in an often bitter world. You're doing fine, better than fine. Right now, in this moment, you're exactly where you need to be. Let the story fade. Let chocolate fade. Let even your own thoughts become distant, unimportant. Sleep is close now, waiting patiently. It's been waiting all along, and now you're ready to meet it. Your body sinks deeper into comfort. Your mind releases its final concerns. Nothing needs to be remembered. Nothing needs to be done. The story of chocolate continues without you, as it always has, as it always will. Your part in it is simply to have listened, to have been present, to have found a moment of calm in the telling. And now that moment expands, grows softer, becomes something else entirely. Not waking, not quite sleeping, but that space between where everything feels possible and nothing feels urgent. You float there, suspended, held by the same forces that have held humans since the beginning. Gravity, breath, the quiet insistence of your own heartbeat. Chocolate was never the point. The point was this, right here, right now. You arriving at rest, finding peace in the simplest way possible, by listening, by breathing, by allowing yourself to drift into the darkness that holds no threat, only welcome. The story ends not because there's nothing left to say, but because you've heard enough. Your system has what it needs, permission to stop, reason to let go. Path towards sleep illuminated by the gentle light of attention, of presence, of chocolate's 3,000-year whisper, that pleasure exists, that comfort is real, that sweetness can be found even in bitter times. So find it now, that sweetness, that rest, that surrender to what comes next. The story releases you, chocolate releases you, even these words release you, fading like the last notes of a lullaby, leaving only silence, only breath, only the soft descent into sleep that was waiting all along, patient as cacao trees growing in tropical shade, inevitable as rain, certain as the morning that will come eventually. But doesn't matter now, not now, Not while you're drifting, not while you're finally, completely, beautifully at rest.